Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, a special good morning to you all, and welcome to the home of the National Open University of Nigeria. Welcome to the home of the Regional Training Institute for Research and Distance Learning, RETRIDOL. As we begin this two-day engagement, and with the opening right about this moment, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure that I welcome before you the President of the Commonwealth of Learning in person of Professor Peter Scott, who will be joining us virtually. I'd like to also welcome in our gathering the Odiland President in person of Professor Francis Egbokare, the Commonwealth of Learning Higher Education Advisor, Professor Jane Francis Agbu. Let me also recognize the presence of my VC and the host Vice Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, a man under whose guide the university has moved tremendously, Professor Olufemi Peters. Sir, you're welcome. I'd like to also welcome, joining us, the Registrar of the National Open University of Nigeria, in person of Mr. Oladipo Ajayi. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to also at this moment recognize the Director of Regional Training and Research Institute for Distance and Open Learning, Professor Christine Ofulue. Permit me to also welcome the former Vice Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Vincent Ado Tenebi. At this juncture, I'd like to also recognize the presence of Professor Emeritus Godwin Sogolo. Sir, you're most welcome. I'd like to recognize the presence of all ECOWAS representatives joining us for this all-important program. Same goes to the representative of the Federal Ministry of Education, our special guests and resource person all the way from Cole, Vancouver, Canada, Dr. Karina Bosu. Let me specially welcome you, our participants, without who will not be opening shop for business today. Both those online and you joining us live. Members of the NOUN community, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, it is a special day for us here at the RETRIDOL as we commence the engagement and setting up agenda for developing a Commonwealth credit transfer framework with the focus of micro-credentials in a digital age. As we open up shop for this engagement this morning, I would like to invite for a video message all the way from Vancouver, Canada, from the Commonwealth of Learning President, Professor Peter Scott.
Distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, representatives of ministries, higher education institutions, quality assurance agencies, and all our valued stakeholders. It is my great privilege to join in the welcome to the West Africa Regional Consultation Meeting on the Commonwealth Credit Transfer Framework for Microcredentials, organized in collaboration with the Regional Training and Research Institute for the Distance and Open Learning team of the National Open University of Nigeria. As an intergovernmental organization of the 56 nations of the Commonwealth of Learning is committed to ensuring efficiency and quality of learning by using appropriate, open, distance, and technology-based approaches at scale. When the Commonwealth of Learning was conceived, establishing and maintaining procedures for the recognition of academic credit were recognized as important objectives for our whole community of nations. Consequently, promoting credit as transfer through implementing small credentialed things like microcredentials, amongst other strategies, is essential. This meeting is a vital part of a collective effort to shape the future of education and training in the Commonwealth, enhancing portability and recognition, and considering the affordances of microcredentials as something we create together and then share together. In an era defined by digital transformation due to increased digitalization, the use of general artificial intelligence, the global workforce mobility, and indeed the need for continuous learning, microcredentials have emerged as a flexible and powerful tool. They allow us to bridge skill gaps, to improve employability, and they provide individuals with new pathways to professional and academic growth. However, for microcredentials to achieve their full potential, they must comply with common standards. They must be recognized and transferable across institutions, into industries, and through national borders. This is where working together on a common framework really matters. Now, this meeting is not just an opportunity to share insights, it also offers a platform to engage in meaningful discussions, to exchange experiences, and to contribute to a robust credit transfer framework for microcredentials in the Commonwealth that is both inclusive and implementable. Your contributions in this meeting will help shape a system that benefits learners, institutions, and employers. It will foster a future where education is more accessible and more flexible, responsive to the evolving needs of our societies. On behalf of the Commonwealth of Learning, I extend my most profound appreciation for your participation and commitment to this initiative. Thank you, and good luck with the meeting.
Let me kindly recognize the arrival of the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of Administration, Professor Isaac Bosworth. Sir, you're welcome. Let me slip over as I invite Professor Christine Ofulwe, the Director of the Regional Training Institute for Distance and Open Learning, to kindly furnish us with the reason we gathered here and what are the takeaways. Professor Ofulwe, please.
Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, good morning. The Vice Chancellor, National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Olufemi Peters, the principal officers here present, the DVC admin and the registrar, deans and directors here present, our emeritus Professor Soglo and former Vice Chancellor Professor Vincent Adu-Tenebe, our resource persons, Dr. Karina Bosu from the Open University UK, Professor Jane Francis Agbo, Advisor Higher Education, Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Francis Egbuhari, President of Odelan. I hope I've not missed out anybody. Distinguished our keynote speaker for our upcoming conference, Professor Mpine McCoy from South Africa. You're welcome. And our distinguished guests and participants from the Gambia, Ghana, Cameroon, Sierra Leone, Ghana, you're all welcome. Ladies and gentlemen, I am delighted to welcome you all to Abuja, Nigeria, and to this very important workshop on developing a Commonwealth credit transfer framework, micro-credentials in a digital age, organized by the Commonwealth of Learning, COLE, in collaboration with the Regional Training and Research Institute for Distance and Open Learning, hosted by the National Open University of Nigeria. Established in 2003 as a collaborative initiative between NOUN and COLE, RETRIDOL has become a major hub for building the capacity in open and distance learning across West Africa and beyond. Through its robust training programs, academic initiatives, and research, RETRIDOL has consistently promoted ODL, fostering regional collaboration and strengthening educational networks. The presence of participants from Ghana, the Gambia, Sierra Leone, Cameroon, and Nigeria at this workshop is a testament to RETRIDOL's impact and reach. Pardon my omission, I would also like to welcome the representative from ECOWAS, Dr. Roland Kwaku. My apologies, please. And also our visiting professor, Professor Paul Prinsloo, from South Africa. You're welcome. Micro-credentials as shorter non-credit or credit-bearing and stackable learning opportunities are recognized as a flexible, targeted approach to delivering education and training in the digital era and in the open and distance learning space. They enable rapid upskilling, personalized learning, and support the mobility of qualifications across borders, which is vital in today's fast-evolving, technology-driven job market. RETRIDOL has already taken significant steps in this area, including hosting 2 institutional activities on micro-credentials. One, a webinar, and second, an institutional workshop, and is currently leading the micro-credential initiative at NOUN to develop both an institutional policy and micro-credential modules to enhance ODL capacity in the sub-region. This workshop could therefore not be more timely. The primary objectives are to engage with key national and institutional post-secondary education stakeholders at regional level, to share findings of in-depth reviews of micro-credentialing literature, tools, and practices throughout the Commonwealth, to identify the national and regional needs in terms of credit transfer and micro-credentialing, to obtain inputs from the stakeholders that will inform the draft Commonwealth credit transfer framework for micro-credentials, which is the reason why we're gathered today. The participants at this workshop include directors of distance learning centers, academic planning directors, academics from higher education institutions, representatives from regulatory bodies, and ministries of education within West Africa. Over the next 2 days, we will use a consultative participatory approach, combining plenary sessions, institutional and country presentations, and group work to ensure that the framework that is developed is contextually relevant and robust. We are honored to welcome our distinguished resource persons, Dr. Karina Bosu from the Open University UK, Professor Jane Francis Agbu, Higher Education Officer at the Commonwealth of Learning, and Professor Francis Egbuhare, President of the Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria. Their expertise on this subject matter will greatly enrich our discussions. I wish to express my sincere gratitude to the Vice Chancellor, National Open University of Nigeria, for his unwavering support of RETRIDOL's mission and activities, including this workshop. Special thanks goes to the Commonwealth of Learning for their ongoing partnership, and to the dedicated RETRIDOL team who have worked tirelessly to make this workshop a reality, especially while concurrently are involved in preparing for the 3rd International Conference of the Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria, which commences tomorrow and is being hosted here at the National Open University of Nigeria. I warmly invite all our participants to attend this important conference. The opening ceremony is tomorrow in the afternoon after this workshop is over. In conclusion, this workshop marks a critical next step towards standardizing and enabling the recognition and mobility of micro-credentials within our sub-region and across the Commonwealth. Once again, I welcome you all. I wish you fruitful deliberations, and I hope you get the time to visit the sights and sounds of Abuja. Welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Director RETRIDOL, Professor Christian Ofuluwe. I'm of the opinion that he has left no one in doubt as to why we are gathered this moment. Permit me to invite the Higher Education Advisor, Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Jane Francis Agbu, for her remark. Prof.
Greetings from the President, Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Peter Scott. And also aligning, I don't want to align with the protocol, so I need to mention my colleagues and friends here. I hope I don't miss out anyone. the Odeland President, Professor Ebokare, our host, my dear Vice Chancellor, Professor Olufemi Peters. I'm also delighted to see my former Vice Chancellor, Professor Ado Tenebe, and also Professor Sogolo. You're welcome. And the principal officers, DVC, admin, and the BOSA, you're welcome. Also, in most special way, welcome Dr. Roland Kako, Director, Education, Science and Culture, ECOWAS. You're welcome, sir. Thank you so much for joining. And other ECOWAS representatives. And thank you, Professor Christine Ofulwe, for facilitating this meeting. And I hope the representatives from the Ministry of Education, Nigeria, they are here. And also the resource persons, Karina from OU UK, thank you for coming. And representatives from the ECOWAS countries. We have 7 Commonwealth ECOWAS countries, and we're happy that we have 6 countries here represented. And also warm greetings for the participants joining online that were not able to join us today live. And in a most special way, welcome members of NOW community, gentlemen of the press, ladies and gentlemen, and also Professor Mpine McCoy from South Africa, Paul Prinsloo, welcome, thank you so much. So I want to join unfortunately we were not able to play the video, so we are sorting out the technicalities, but to send warm greetings from the President of the Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Peter Scott, and also warm greetings from our chief host, who will address us shortly, and to also add a warm welcome to everybody that I have missed out in one way or the other. I can see my colleagues out there, and I'm always very excited to be home. You know, when I was singing my national anthem and also the NOW anthem, I was kind of a bit louder than usual, because anytime I sing that anthem, I feel very proud, because it's about open and distance learning. It's about equity, it's about inclusivity, it's about reaching the unreached, the last person on the queue. So I feel very proud to be an open education advocate. So as we will see in the opening video from the co-president, just a little bit about Commonwealth of Learning. It's based in Vancouver, Canada, and established by the Commonwealth heads of government with the vision to widen and create access to opportunities for learning, making use of the potentials offered by distance education and by the application of communication technologies to education. So our aim at this meeting, as also alluded by the director, RETRIDOL, is to engage all of us, key stakeholders, regional stakeholders in particular, to deliberate on the best processes for micro-credentials. To also facilitate our discussions, findings from the in-depth review carried out by Commonwealth of Learning on the micro-credential literature, the tools and practices throughout the Commonwealth will be shared. And our deliberations in this meeting will help us determine the national and regional needs in terms of credit transfer, micro-credentialing, while inputs will be obtained from stakeholders to inform Commonwealth credit transfer framework for micro-credential. Just to inform us that we have 56 Commonwealth member countries, so our discussion today will be part of the bigger picture in developing a Commonwealth-wide credit transfer framework for micro-credentials. We want to include as many voices as possible, and represented here, as I indicated earlier, we have 6 out of the 7 Commonwealth West African countries. Unfortunately, we've not been able to accommodate Gabon because of peculiar reasons, but we are hoping that they will join the team very soon. So this meeting is one of the 5 regional stakeholders events scheduled for this project. The others this is actually the last of the 5 meetings. The others held in Asia last month, the Caribbean, Pacific, and Southern and Eastern Africa. So regarded as one of the most significant development in global higher education in the post-pandemic era, micro-credentials, unlike traditional academic qualifications and over a longer period, are based on outcomes acquired through a short, transparently assessed course or module. And we all, I'm sure you agree with me that one of the benefits of micro-credential is that it provides flexible approaches to developing career paths and upskilling in the job market, and thus enhancing learners' employability. So in response to these emerging trends, several governments and institutions have encouraged diverse institutions and organizations to provide variety of micro-credentials to learners. And yet, several issues are challenging the implementation of micro-credentials in many regions, such as a lack of clearly defined and shared definition for what micro-credential is all about. I'm sure all of us have different views and definitions and perspectives of micro-credential. And the beauty of this meeting is that we're going to collate all those input to come up with a mutually agreed definition for micro-credentials. Cole has given us definitions. UNESCO has provided its definition. We will need our homegrown Western African definitions for micro-credential. And we're talking about the challenges with the definitions, and also the credibility of some micro-credential providers. We are happy that we have regulatory agencies here, and we'll be talking about quality assurance for micro-credentials, and also the lack of incorporation of micro-credentials into national quality assurance systems. We would, of course, love to draw from your knowledge and experiences in terms of micro-credentialing, qualification frameworks, and the like, to inform the Commonwealth micro-credential framework. We will therefore seize the opportunity to share our experiences and insights, and very important, to learn from one another and co-create a framework that supports learners, enhance mobility, and build trust in micro-credentials across borders. Once again, I warmly welcome everybody, and we wish all of us beautiful, productive, and insightful deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Professor Agbo. Of course, the bottom line is this platform today will be tapping from your wealth of knowledge and experience to give Cole an idea of how to engage the West African sub-region in terms of micro-credentials in a digital age. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, in that line, I'd like to invite for a goodwill message, Dr. Roland Kwakor, who is the Director, Education, Science and Culture, ECOWAS Commission.
Good morning, everyone. I don't have the protocol, but I would like to thank you, Excellencies, in your rank and grade. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm taking the floor here because my commissioner asked me to come and support, known and also call for this great event. It's an honor for me to be your professor, for inviting ECOWAS. Our presence today is a symbol to support, the symbol of ECOWAS to support all the initiatives concerning education, and especially open and distance learning. I would like to thank the National Open University of Nigeria for organizing this trainings, regional training session. The term is very important for ECOWAS when the term focus on credit transfer. ECOWAS have developed a regional, let's say, platform. In that platform, we have also our guideline for credit transfer. The credit transfer contributes for ECOWAS to enhance the mobility of teachers, the mobility of students, and also the right for the establishment of citizens in ECOWAS region. It's very important for us. So, because the mission of ECOWAS is integration. Of course, e-learning Commonwealth is not all the countries, but I think that the development of this, the outcome of this meeting will help ECOWAS to how to implement its protocol. In 2010, ECOWAS had a strong partnership with CORE when we are developing our regional policy on e-learning. Of course, after the project, we could not develop our partnership. So we think that from this meeting, we can also see how to review our partnership with CORE, and also NON has been far from ECOWAS. But just since last year, I think NON have supported ECOWAS to revise the regional policy. So I want to thank NON for this initiative. We'll not be all the day with you, but we are waiting for the deliberation of this meeting, because what I will say that we need to know how to transfer the credit from one country to other country. So the deliberation of this meeting will help us to implement our platform, our guideline. So thank you very much for inviting ECOWAS. We support you, but let's see how to develop a new partnership between ECOWAS, NON, and also CORE. Thank you very much.
Looking forward for a new partnership between ECOWAS, CORE, and NOW. And that's the bottom line from Dr. Roland Kwako from the ECOWAS Commission. On the same length, I would like to invite the president of the Open Distance and E-Learning, Professor Francis Egbokare, for a goodwill message.
Thank you very much. Vice Chancellor, Professor Peters, thank you for your support to Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria. And I also want to thank RETRIDOL for giving us the platform always to be able to be part of the story of the development of this institution, and also for building capacity of distance learning scholars and practitioners. RETRIDOL and ODELAN are involved in a lot of joint partnerships. For instance, micro-credentials is one of the areas where we want to develop local capacity on our own, because we believe that there is a lot we can do by ourselves. And so that's why it's very important that the members of this association are going to be leveraging on the outcome of these workshops in order for us to implement in our various institutions and various areas of practice. I need to say that there are three critical issues. Basically is the issue of caring, because as I was listening to the different presentations, something came up and I was saying, are we going to end up with a workshop and then also archive the policies in a graveyard of very excellent outcomes, policies, but that are not implemented? Because part of this problem we found is that we face a lot of execution gaps and execution and implementation gaps. And that has informed, actually, why we decided to form Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria in 2020. You will be very shocked that this came up very late. And we have about 501 members now, all over the country. And we are working very hard also to ensure that this association extends to the West African region so that we can also build networks for collaborations. One of the critical weaknesses that we have observed is that we are not interacting, we are not collaborating, we are not sharing ideas. And NOUN has become for us a platform for us to be able to develop the muscles and the capacity to collaborate and to ensure that good policies are implemented and also that ideas are spread from one institution to the other. So we are looking forward to the implementation framework that will come up. Very critical also, we are looking forward to the ideas that will be shared here. And then we will personally, as a Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria, ensure that what has been done here does not stay here and does not end here, and that they are disseminated across the nation. I'm glad that the National Universities Commission is represented here, which is a very key partner of the Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria. Finally, I want to thank those, Jane from the Commonwealth of Learning for getting us involved, for recognizing us as a critical stakeholder and partner in this business of Open Distance and E-Learning Association of Nigeria. Our chief midwife of Odeland is right here. I think I should call him mid-husband because he's a man, Professor Peters. And I want to thank you all and wish you a very exciting deliberation. I will be listening very carefully, and you can be rest assured that at the end of the day, you have a very strong partnership with Nigeria. Thank you very much.
President, Open Distance and E-Learning, Professor Francis Egbokare there, with that assurance that whatever that is discussed here will not just die here, but then it will be planted, nurtured until full fruition. What a warm assurances, sir. We're grateful. Do we have the representative of the Federal Ministry of Education here, please? In the absence of any, I'd like to recognize the presence of the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of academics, Professor Chedu Mafiana, and also the Deputy Vice Chancellor in charge of technology, innovation, and research, Professor Godion Akbe. Thank you for joining us. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is with great pleasure at this moment that I invite the hosts and the Vice Chancellor of the National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Olufemi Peters, for his address of welcome and subsequently to declare this function open.
I have too many mics here and they are not allowing me to put my things on the table. Good morning, distinguished ladies and gentlemen. I really want to welcome you to our university, the National Open University of Nigeria. First, I particularly want to welcome the President of the Commonwealth of Learning, Professor Peter Scott, far away in Canada, and who is well represented here by the staff of the Commonwealth of Learning who are here, most especially Dr. Karina Bosu and our own Professor Jane Francis Agbu. You are welcome back home. And anytime we see you, we feel happy that you are representing us well. I also want to welcome to this important opening ceremony the regional representative for ECOWAS, Dr. Roland Koko. Thank you very much for your coming. I want to welcome my friend, my sister, all the way from UNISA, our keynote speaker, Professor Impine Makoe. You are welcome again. I didn't know we came back yesterday together from Addis Ababa. You are welcome to your university, actually. Welcome. I also want to welcome to this workshop the president of Odeland. He has just spoken, Professor Francis Egwokare. He's a person very close to us. We want to appreciate him for what he's been doing for Odeland. Odeland is a new association, so to steer it from commencement is usually very tough. So we want to thank you for what you are doing for that. And of course, I want to welcome the principal officers of the National Open University of Nigeria, the Deputy Vice Chancellors here present, and also to welcome all the regional representatives from ECOWAS. I'm very glad to note that 6 of the countries in ECOWAS are here, and please accept our very warm welcome to the National Open University of Nigeria. We, in this university, we really cherish our emerituses and former vice chancellors. And many who have been part of us will recognize that hardly do we do any function without having these gentlemen with us. So it's my also distinguished honor to welcome again to the university, the former vice chancellor of the university, pretending to be with a cowboy hat, Professor Vincent Tenebe. You are welcome to your university. And of course, Professor Sogulo. And indeed, everybody, deans and directors who have found it worthy to be with us at this workshop, I welcome you to this workshop. It is the warmest pleasure I have to deliver this welcome address to this distinguished audience at this epoch-making workshop to develop a framework for micro-credentials in the digital age, with the full knowledge that in no distant time, micro-credentialing could become another disruptive influence to a most fundamental structural process of knowledge and skill acquisition to global certification. This workshop is organized by the Commonwealth of Learning through our own research institute, the Regional Training and Research Institute for Open and Distance Learning, we famously call RETRIDOL. I am particularly glad, as some of us in this hall could recollect my admonition of an impending invasion of micro-credentials into our knowledge and skills process at Babcock University, Jeburemo, Ogun State. This was in 2023, when we had the first conference of the Odeland Association. My prediction is now coming nearer home. The time, I think, has now come for our institutions, our national regulatory agencies, and the industry to commence to take a deeper look into how to agree to restructure our thematic path to degree certification. I dare not mention the other elephant disrupting our normalcy in the education sector, the artificial intelligence. Micro-credentialing is an innovative approach that is reshaping the landscape of education and professional development. They reflect a shift in how education is perceived and delivered, focusing on skills and competencies in a particular area of competence rather than in lengthy formal education. They are becoming increasingly seen as a viable alternative to traditional academic degree structures. These courses are often developed in collaboration with industry experts, which ensures that the skills that are taught and acquired are relevant and in demand, which means it enhances their employability. So it's no great task, therefore, to discover that they are now gaining popularity as an alternative route to certification due to their flexibility, accessibility, and relevance to the evolving job market. What perhaps makes them even more relevant is that micro-credentials can often be combined or stacked to form a broader qualification. This allows learners to accumulate various micro-credentials over time, leading to recognized certifications or degrees, particularly for those looking to reskill or upskill rapidly in the ever-evolving job market. I am aware that there are still some challenges related to recognition and certification, but I'm certain micro-credentials will play a critical role in shaping the future of professional education, making them a compelling alternative to traditional academic degrees. This is the reason institutions like ours and national regulatory bodies must seize the initiative to develop policies and regulations that will ensure its relevance to society and the emerging job market. Already, there are numerous institutions, organizations, and platforms offering programs tailored to specific skills and industries. Some examples are the EDS MicroMasters programs, founded by Harvard and MIT, which offers MicroMasters programs in areas such as data science, artificial intelligence, and digital marketing, leading to, in some cases, a full master's degree at the participating institutions. We also have Coursera, which partners universities and organizations to provide course specializations and focus on a specific skill or subject area, such as machine learning or project management, completion of which hands the subscriber a certificate showcasing the learner's expertise. Coming closer home is our preeminent ODL forerunner, the Open University UK, which offers micro-credentials in areas like business, health, and technology. And in this particular case, Open University UK is ensuring also that the credits are transferable toward a full degree. So what then do we do? Thanks to Commonwealth of Learning and RETRIDOL, I think what to do is what we are gathered here to do, to establish institutional guidelines for micro-credentialing that involves a collaborative approach that encompasses all possible stakeholders, ranging from the institutions, regulatory bodies, and industry. I believe that by creating a structured framework, institutions can then effectively implement micro-credentialing programs that will meet the needs of learners and employers while enhancing educational pathways and workforce readiness. I call on our national regulatory bodies, and especially the National Universities Commission, to take the leadership role in formulating nationally clear definitions, standards, and goals, aligning with national education goals and quality measures that will strengthen micro-credentialing in our country, Nigeria. I encourage all of you to actively participate in these discussions. Ask questions, share your experiences, and engage with your peers. Together, we can create a collaborative environment that fosters learning and innovation. I am confident that by the end of this workshop, you will leave with practical knowledge and inspiration to implement micro-credentialing initiatives in your respective contexts. I would like to extend my gratitude to the Commonwealth of Learning once again, whose support have made this workshop possible. Equally so, I express my gratitude to the director and staff of RETRIDOL, who have remained steadfast in propagating the true philosophy and practice of ODL, for which today is a veritable example. Additionally, I appreciate all the participating institutions, regional partners, and facilitators for their willingness to share their expertise with us these 2 days. Thank you once again for being here. I wish us all a memorable and successful workshop and safe travels back to your various destinations. It is on this note that I declare, as Vice Chancellor of National Open University of Nigeria, this workshop open. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Vice Chancellor, sir. The Vice Chancellor is not only optimistic that you will live here with a practical knowledge, but then you will depart with an inspiration to plant issues regarding macro-credentials in your respective zones. From the President of the Commonwealth of Learning to the host Vice Chancellor, to all the people who spoke here this morning, it is just one message. Your contribution is vital for micro-credentials. On that note, we've come to the end of this opening rites, which will make room for a tea break, and that also will make room for the plenary. But before we go to that tea break, I would like to thank all our participants online and you joining us here. But one more ritual before we go on that tea break, and that is we gathered here for a group photograph. Thank you very much for this opening ceremony.